Avatar shit here.
Nope. Now I wish I got those Legos.
There.
Hello, everybody. I'm Will.
And I'm Kristin.
And this is So I'm Watching This Show, your new favorite pop culture YouTube channel where we talk about movies, TV, music, and Avatar. This is a spoiler show, so you've been warned. On today's episode, we are going to have a conversation about 2009's cinema-defining, earth-changing masterwork, Avatar.
They've sent us a message that they can take whatever they want. But we will send them a message that this is our land.
Bring out the papyrus. Do the entire font.
Mm-hmm.
Just papyrus all over this thing.
Mm-hmm.
Papyrus!
It is unforgivable.
Yeah.
It's like,
mm-hmm.
I cannot believe.
Mm-hmm.
So I mentioned that I definitely think I saw it like 3 times in theaters because it was one of those, like, you went with different people and different. It was like an event movie.
We went for my birthday that year.
IMAX, 3D, center of the theater.
Yeah,
Actually, we were a little bit.
We made my husband go to iDrive to see this movie. He fucking hates that. But we were newly dating, so he did what I asked him to.
I don't think I have seen it since the year 2010.
I think this was my 3rd time watching it total, and I think I saw it in the theater, and then I watched it on HBO, and then now.
Okay.
And I think I'm good.
You think you're good?
I think that's fine. I think that's enough.
What I'm sure is a shock to everyone, I'm gonna come out medium to pro this movie, even though medium. I don't ever want to really watch it again.
Okay, all right. I am medium. I don't think this deserves what it gets.
Well, what does it get, though? Because it came and went.
It did come and went. I don't think it deserves to be the top highest grossing movie of all time. That's absurd to me.
That is purely from the technological spectacle of it all.
Yeah.
It is without a doubt a defining moment in cinema. There were things that were done where I feel like the previous was The Matrix before it.
Sure,
you know what
I'll
I mean?
give you that.
And the elephant in the room for me with Avatar is its broad appeal, is the fact that it has, because we did a fair amount of groaning and eye rolling watching this. Mm-hmm. And some of it's in a 2022 in this climate, some of it is downright triggering.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
I started pacing. I was like, I can't watch this. I cannot sit here and watch this.
Mm-hmm. Well, especially
the colonialism of it all.
Well, the imperialism, colonialism, like all of that. And then Stephen Lang's character, the Colonel, is, I mean, just repugnant. And I know he's supposed to be, but it's fucking awful.
There was something there.
Oh my God. The guy that she's supposed to be with.
Naz Alonso.
Yeah.
From The Boys.
Huh. Hilarious. Love that. Love that for all of us. I also think, like, especially, again...
I prefer The Boys because I get to look at him in that.
Sure, yeah. Especially, like you said, in 2022, but for a totally different reason. The Parker Selfridge, Giovanni Ribisi's character, like, why is that not Sam Rockwell? That should be Sam Rockwell. Like, is Sam Rockwell gonna be in the new one? Like,
But it's not a subtle movie, and there was...
It's like the understatement of the century.
There was something very blatant, and it wasn't unobtainium. It was like a piece of dialogue or like a bit where you really groaned or rolled your eyes. And I was like, this has to, the 4 quadrants. Yeah. This had to please everybody. And it's the movie's blessing and its curse. Yeah. It's something that James Cameron is particularly apt at, is casting a wide net. And it's not for us, and certainly not now.
Here's the thing, though.
Me now.
Yeah, I like so many other James Cameron movies leagues better than this. Like, so much more than this.
Okay.
Like Titanic, Terminator 2, Aliens, The Abyss.
Well, those are adult movies. I remember seeing Titanic. We were what, 12?
This is not
13?
a kids movie.
It's meant to be family accessible. It's meant to be. It's meant to be it's meant to be a huge crowd pleaser. And that's what I started to say. It's that sort of, it's like Jurassic Park before it, where it's like, it's not a kid's movie, but it's one of those movies that you see when you're younger that's like an adult movie.
Sure.
And it's sort of like a rite of passage, and it's sort of like...
Yeah.
And I think its themes and its stuff is meant for that. Like, again, I mean, I was 12 or 13 when Titanic came out, and dare I say, perfect age. You know, nudity and all.
Yeah.
Because, and granted, I haven't rewatched Titanic in years, so I don't...
It holds up.
Oh, I thought it was one of the ones that was a little bit controversial in that regard.
No, it holds up because the romance is good.
Okay.
Yeah.
This
romance isn't good. This script is so weak. That first scene when they introduced Sigourney Weaver, and I was like, this is just bad. And you were like, is that why she's terrible?
I didn't say anything, because she gets better.
She does.
Because she's Sigourney Weaver. But her introduction in this, I was like, I didn't say anything because I dare not speak ill. But when you said something about how bad it is, I was like, is that why she's terrible at this? Because it's like it's like she only in that moment is comprehending that she has to deal with the military. And I'm like, they are years into this.
First of all, you had to take a 6-year trip to get in hypersleep or whatever to get there. And then you've been there long enough to be used to your avatar body and to have created a rapport with the Na'vi. And then now all of a sudden you're like, come on, Colonel. And it's like, and she's very like Girl Friday. Like, I'm surprised she doesn't start doing a Katharine Hepburn accent. And it's just like, and she's smoking the whole time.
I love the smoking, though.
I don't care about the smoking, but as a scientist, smoking inside your sterile work environment is like the hugest no-no. It's... No.
Well, because there's so many points where you're like, why are they doing both the military and scientific expedition in tandem?
Yeah, like, I don't know why they're so cohered together. Like, it doesn't make... Like, it makes sense that the military
that's what I mean.
would
when you're
get
younger,
them there.
you won't question that stuff.
But now I'm a grown-up.
And that's why, I mean, it's not for us at this point in our lives. And again, it's like, I was more receptive, or I was definitely more in need of the cultural, social, economic parables within it when I was, 25 or 24. Now I am being battered about the head with it in ways that it almost, I don't know.
There's also like, I mean, because I also think it's one of the things, and I think what James Cameron was trying to do is that he was trying to add like a depth to the story. There is absolutely no narrative reason why Jake should be the twin brother of who they really wanted. Like, that's totally unnecessary. And they spent
I think it's the wild card element, though, because if it was the actual Marine, he wouldn't have done this.
No, his brother was not a Marine. His brother was a scientist.
Oh.
And he might have done it. Scientists do shit like that. The thing...
Oh, he's the Marine.
He's the Marine. And so I think that... And they spend so much early movie real estate talking about how much they all wished it was his brother there instead. And I'm just like, I don't... This movie is almost 3 hours long, and it also didn't need to be. It, like, could have been, like, way less.
You could shave 40 minutes off this movie.
Easy. And I think part of the thing here is because, like, this is all, it's very cool to look at. I have no issue with the visuals. The visuals are fantastic.
They held up really, really
fantastically.
Well. Especially the only place where I could see the, like, strings was action scenes.
Sure.
And that one leopard thing, it's really glossy in a way that the rest of them are not.
100%. So, like I said, I have no issues with that. James Cameron has always been at the forefront of, like, new technology, like, from way, way back. Like, The Abyss, even. Like, way back. I love that. I love the way it looks. I think it's very cool. I think, in relation to Titanic, which was the last movie he did before this, like 12 years in between.
Wow.
Yeah. And then he hasn't made another movie until now. I think the mistake is that we are dropped into a completely fresh, new world that we have no concept of, and there's no real shorthand, I guess. Whereas, like, the Titanic exists in reality, and because of that, the, like, relatively thin romance works because it exists in a place that already exists.
Well, you were also watching two bona fide stars sort of coming into, like, that was electric. Where with this, you have Sam Worthington and Zoe Saldana doing her best.
Her very best.
Acting her tits clean off in the dust.
Okay, I'll say that too. Zoe Saldana comes out of this unscathed.
Never. Yeah. If I have learned one thing, it is never bet against Zoe Saldana. Not in Center Stage.
Nope.
Not in Crossroads.
Nope.
Not in Pirates of the Caribbean.
Nope.
Not, like, never. Her number is never up.
Underestimate this bitch. She's fantastic. But I think you're totally right. It's like, Sam, like, because there were big stars in the running, and then James Cameron was like, I want an unknown. And I'm like,
he's fine.
He is bad at an American accent, but he's fine at acting. And I even have seen things where he's good at acting. Like, we talked about the Unabomber show with, what's his face? Vision.
If I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna do it as a man.
Yeah.
Clash of the Titans. Sorry, go ahead. I had to. We don't talk about the
No, and that's the thing. It's like, but that's, to go back to my point, it's like, if the story, the plot and the romance of this movie was thin, but it was set in something that you could get an easier grasp of more quickly, I think it would work better. But because you're piling this romance on top of colonialism, on top of, like, science versus military, on top of, like, education versus orders versus this, and it's just, but it's like, it's doing so many different things, and in the end, all of it gets muddled under a beautiful, like, umbrella, but so that's still just like mud.
That's ultimately what its issue is that what was significant about it was the technological advancements and the achievement.
Yeah.
Everything else about it was merely competent.
Yeah.
It's a fine story.
It's form over function.
It's a competent
100%,
story.
Yeah.
And the taking of 13 years to get to a second, it's like, I don't even remember who any of these people are.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to lie, I am interested. I can't bring myself to say excited.
Well,
I'm intrigued by Way of Water.
Yeah.
But there's a part of me that I'm like, but why does it have to be Avatar? Like, couldn't we just watch, like, couldn't they just be real people or fantasy people or, like, I just want to watch underwater porn.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't want to saddle it with, quote unquote.
You want a whole movie of the Pearl planet from Valerian and the City of 1,000 Planets.
And so that's my issue. Is like what this movie has for me is the exploration. Is just the weird, like, I would just watch this as, like, a thought experiment or a screensaver exploring these worlds.
Yeah, but it has so much to live up to now, and because I really don't care for the first one.
Like, we're not passionate about these characters.
I have no fondness really going into this, especially because I guess, spoiler alert, I'm pretty sure that the Tiri is dead.
So I'm not going to go, well, we don't know. No,
I don't know. I don't know at all.
I'm hesitant. I think that might be the case, but it's just sort of, if you were to ask me, like, what I retained from the first one, it's like,
I see you.
No, I didn't even retain that, remember?
James Cameron is nothing if not a burglar of his own self.
What I remembered is Sigourney Weaver and what's-his-face, the military, Stephen Lang.
Yeah.
Like, those are the only two characters I remember. Mm-hmm. I don't remember the other characters in the way that when you watch Star Wars, you know who Luke, Han, and Leia are.
Sure. Also, not for nothing, both those characters are dead. Sigourney Weaver's character and Stephen Lang's character are dead. So they're not even a tether. The only tether that we have 100% for sure is Jake. And that's sort of like, why?
And I mean, that for me, that is a very middle bar.
Yeah.
And so I'm hoping that this upcoming one is good. I'm hoping that there's a little bit more oomph, like a little bit more character, maybe something to really sort of hook into.
I would really love it if the
I would love to be passionate about a character.
Sure.
About I like that character.
And I would love if there was a little more meat on the story, because this really, and it's like comically villainous from Giovanni Ribisi and Stephen Lang. They're throwing out savages. They're like it's horrible.
There was one where you were like, there is a scalp on the wall behind him.
It's like maybe a necklace, but it's like
the imagery
was, and I'm just like, it's also obviously very obviously American military, so this is like just an American expedition somehow, and I like, how are you not seeing the history repeating? Like, I don't know. I hope there's more maybe nuance to it, because this is a very like white humans versus indigenous creature. I don't know. It's not as good as it should be. It should be better, and I think we were all just blinded by the visuals. And
I mean, I think that that's fine.
Here's the thing, too, though, is that, do you know what other movie came out in 2009? District 9. Equally but opposite good visuals. Like, that, those are real. Those aliens are real. They exist. Prawns. But that had such a compelling, interesting story that ended on such a bittersweet note, and, like, this is just...
But that's why I bring up the whole, like, the crowd pleaser.
Yeah.
It needed
to District 9 is not a crowd pleaser.
It needed to be mass.
Yeah.
And this managed to be. And that's what I was starting to say, was I was like, at a certain point, it's the movie's legacy is not the movie's responsibility.
Sure.
We've had similar conversations when talking about Star Wars, especially with, like, the prequels, where it's like, at a certain point, it's not their job to...
I understand
to meet your
that.
expectations.
Like, this movie doesn't owe me a nuanced take on colonialism.
But I also mean that, like, the fact it's not the movie's fault that it is the biggest movie ever.
Yeah.
Because if it weren't, I don't think we would be as hostile as we are.
Sure.
If this was just a run-of-the-mill successful movie that, like, made a decent profit, I don't think we would be combing over it the way that we are. And so that sort of thing.
But, like, most successful movie that's ever existed, that's intense. And I feel like I feel like you're right. It's because of the visuals, and I just wish it was, like, at least half as much because of the story. But for me, the story drags down the visuals. Also, I keep saying colonialism, I mean colonization.
I said imperialism.
That's accurate as well, yeah. And he just keeps making fun of their religion, and I'm like, just because they like pray to a tree, I just like, fuck you, dude. But also, at no point does Sigourney Weaver's character, like, it would be as if you bulldozed the Vatican, is what you've just done to them. You've bulldozed their Vatican. He's like, it's a fucking tree. And she's like, it's also like a hive mind connected to the rest of the planet, you dipshit. I don't know. I'm just like...
Well, and in that breath, you were explaining how the movie works.
Yeah,
how it's effective.
I like, it is effective, because, like, I do get very, you get heated. You're like, these fucking asshole white dudes are just, like, plowing these indigenous people's, like, customs and faith and everything, and it fucking sucks. And they're also getting killed. And at the same time, I'm like, but you could have done it better. Like, you could have made this more nuanced.
I did enjoy the 3D. You are not a 3D person. It gives you headaches and stuff.
Sometimes it hurts my eyes. It kind of gives me a headache, and it can make me nauseous.
I largely, especially if it was used intentionally, I largely enjoy 3D, and I wanted to say that there was something fascinating about this movie in where it understood the assignment for being in 3D.
Oh,
because where most people would use it as a gimmick, of thrusting the movie out at you.
Mm-hmm.
This used it to pull you into the movie.
Sure.
And I found that really fascinating and remarkable. The one thing that I have to point out, just because it made me laugh, but there is a faux pas in the 3D.
Oh,
and
yeah.
it made me laugh. It's the scene when they go to their little
it's like their auxiliary base.
Yeah, on the floating mountains, and they're looking at photographs pinned to like the refrigerator door, and the photographs were also in 3D. And I was like, that would not be
That's not how
that works.
happened.
I also do want to note that I have been to Pandora in Disney's Animal Kingdom. It is impressive. Both rides are good. It is sort of a for what?
Why? Yeah.
Jenny Nicholson has a brilliant video. It's like an hour long,
Yeah.
where she said that it seems to be the first and only theme park attraction built out of spite.
Yeah, I just.
But I want to say the thing that
Yeah.
I find the funniest about that, and what I think sort of encapsulates the entire Avatar in a whole, is that one of the perks of Pandora in Disney's Animal Kingdom is all of the bioluminescence. That they did all of that really awesome with the paths and the fauna and the trees and stuff like that. And they did all of that in Animal Kingdom, a park that famously closes at dark.
I forgot that. It doesn't make any sense.
You were too preoccupied
Yeah.
with whether or not
You could.
we could.
Boy.
So I will leave it at that. I think it is amazing that we can do it.
Mm-hmm.
I would prefer that if we keep doing it, it would make more sense.
Yeah.
So
I literally just realized how much trouble I'm gonna get in when we post this video.
Why?
Because I'm real boo about this movie. I just feel the film bros.
Well, that's why I said, I was like, I kind of ultimately am.
You're a man. It doesn't matter what you say.
We are going to see Way of Water,
Yep.
and we are most likely going to talk about it. It comes out, before?
This coming weekend.
Okay, yeah. So, stay tuned if you dare.
Yep.
And, bye.